What's up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. And we're here with 10 fights that I want to see in 2024. That's right, we've already gone through about 4 months of the year. We're about halfway through May, but there's still so much time to go in the year, and there's still so many fights that need to happen. I'm going through 10 fights that are not booked as of right now, and I'm saying 10 fights that I want to see. I'm going to make this a series, I reckon. Could make this like a weekly thing, because I can do this, there's so many fights I can make. So, I'm going to go through 10 today. Going to be a relatively short video, and then I'll probably make it a weekly series if you guys like this video. So yeah, drop a comment down below if you want to see more editions of these. Leave your comments of which fights you want to see, and now we're going to get started. Now, the first fight, Jon Jones versus Tom Azaitar. Look, for the other fights, I'm going to give like a date or when to happen or what should be the circumstance around the fight. I don't even know with this one. Just make it happen. Look, is it going to happen? No, because Jon Jones is a coward. And, you know, chickens can't be goats, or goats can't be chickens, whichever way you want to slice that apple, if that doesn't make sense, but whatever. Like, Jon Jones is a chicken. He cannot be a goat. Therefore, he is a goat, or he cannot be a goat because he is a chicken. I've completely not spoken English there, but if he does not fight Tom Azaitar, he is indeed a chicken, and therefore cannot be a goat. So, you know, biologically, you just can't be a chicken and a goat at the same time. It just can't happen. So he would need to fight Tom Azaitar to be able to potentially become the GOAT of the sport. And if it was going to happen, just make it any time this year. We know Tom Azaitar is going to fight probably Blades or Garn at UFC UFC Manchester 304. That's going to happen in July. And if Jon Jones is not a chicken, he will fight Tom Azaitar at MSG, or maybe in December or later in the year. Plenty of time for Tom Azaitar to make a turnaround if he wins his fight at UFC 304. And yeah, there is quite literally no reason for this fight to not happen. Any Jon Jones fans in the comments, if you honestly, even if you're trying to tell yourself, yeah, you know, the Stipe fight kind of makes sense, just stop. Save yourself the trouble of just being a sad individual, and just accept the fact that Tom Azaitar is clearly the only person that makes sense to fight for the undisputed heavyweight title. If Jon Jones has made it clear, which he has, that he will not fight Tom Azaitar, then strip him of the title, make Tom Azaitar versus Curtis Blades or Cyril Gane for the vacant belt, preferably Blades, because Gane doesn't deserve it. But you make that for the vacant belt, or you make Tom Azaitar the undisputed champion, and then you make them challenge him. And then if Jon Jones seeks to gain his title back, he can fight Stipe in the meantime, or he can just man up and fight Tom Azaitar for the belt. So yeah, make this fight happen anytime, anywhere, I don't care. Just do it. Fucking hell, do it in the Apex as a 3-round power slap event for all I care. If I get these two engaging in some sort of combat, that's enough for me. But let's move on to another fight. Next fight that I have is Ilia Topuria versus Max Holloway. Now, I'm not being creative with this. I didn't say I was going to come up with 10 unique, little intricate fights. Like, these are just fights that I really want to see, and a lot of you probably agree. Because Ilia Topuria versus Max Holloway, I think, is one of the most intriguing fights you can make right now. Stylistically, super interesting matchup. There's heat there. Both of them have been talking back and forth. Ilia's been chatting. Ilia has, I wouldn't say been ducking, but he has been like trying to do some of these weird stipulations and demanding that the BMF belt be on the line. Just kind of weird, like, bro, just fight him. But yeah, this fight needs to happen. I put MSG main event. If it doesn't end up being that, I really couldn't care less. This could be the main event of the Sphere card. This could be the co-main event of MSG. This could be the main event of the December card. I don't care. Make this fight happen. It's just really interesting. I want to see Max Holloway versus Ilia Topuria. And I want to know if Ilia is going to knock off back-to-back top guys. Because, you know, when, who was it? But, like, when you win the belt, sometimes people kind of doubt, like, you know, are you really the best guy? Like, did you beat the best guy on the night, but are you overall the best guy? With Ilia, he needs to really just beat one other guy, because you beat Volk. Amazing win. Volk is incredible. But stylistically, that is a matchup that presents some openings for him. But with Holloway, it would be interesting to see if he was able to do the same thing. Because if he just slumps Max Holloway, then, buddy, I got no issue with you fucking calling out whoever you want. You can chat as much shit as you want. But until then, until you've defended the belt, stop talking about going up to lightweight. Stop talking about Sean O'Malley. Stop doing all this shit. Just focus on defending your belt. Don't be going like, oh, I'm not going to give this guy a title shot. I'm not going to give this guy a title shot. Fight Holloway first, and then from there, you can do what you want. But if this fight happens, sick. That's all I need to see. It's the thumbnail of this video for a reason. It's one of the most anticipated fights of the year. And yeah, I just want to see it. But let's move on to another fight. Next up, we got Sean O'Malley versus Merab Dvalishvili. I've put this as the UFC 306 main event. Now again, there's a lot of movement here. This could really be anywhere. But that's apparently what they're looking at. And also, I'm kind of cheating because this basically is like confirmed almost. Like, it's pretty clear that this is going to be the next fight. But still, it hasn't happened yet and it's not booked yet. So therefore, it's in this video. It's just, in my opinion, the most intriguing stylistic matchup at bantamweight right now in terms of the title picture, because we've seen O'Malley versus Jan. It was an incredible fight. It's a really good striking matchup, but you know what you're getting there. With this, again, you know what you're getting in terms of a striker versus a grappler, but we really have actually no clue who's going to win and who's going to be able to implement their strengths. Because yes, if this stays standing, O'Malley is going to knock Merab the fuck out. And if Merab can extend it into the later rounds and get a hold of O'Malley, he's just going to take him down a whole bunch and drown him, and he's going to have better cardio. That's just going to happen. But the beauty of the fight is we don't know who's going to be able to implement that game plan. Obviously, 5 rounds, I would say, favours Merab if it even gets there. But again, O'Malley might just chin him on the feet because Merab is very open, and we've seen him get rocked badly by Moraes and Cejudo, and O'Malley is a much better striker than both of those two gentlemen. So I want to see this fight, make it happen somewhere, like later in the year, July, August, October, I don't care. But I just want to see these two step in the cage, and I want to know who is the number 1 best bantamweight in the world. Because although right now you can definitely say it is Sean O'Malley, there are some questions in terms of his last title defense was not even against the top 5 best bantamweight in the world, in my opinion. Like, if you're looking at, if you think O'Malley's number 1, not going to disagree, but then you got like Peter Yan, you've got Merab Dvalishvili, you've got Corey Sandhagen. I think Song Yadong is a better bantamweight than fucking Cheeto Vera. Like Davison Figueiredo. I think these guys are all better bantamweights than Cheeto. And you're giving, it's like a fight where it's not like the best guy versus the champion. But this is what that would be. This is really the guy. This is the fight to determine who is the guy and who is really the best bantamweight in the world. But let's move on to another fight. Now, we got Leon Edwards versus Shavkat Rakhmonov. Now, Leon Edwards is probably going to be fighting Bilal Muhammad next in England. That's what's going to happen. But that is not the fight on this list. That is not the highly anticipated rematch that I've been waiting for. But Leon versus Shavkat is the fight, because many people do believe that Shavkat is the best welterweight in the world. Many people do think he is just going to win the belt when he gets a shot at that particular opportunity. And many people do think Leon Edwards is the guy to stay around and stick around and beat a bunch of guys and get a bunch of title defenses. I'm not sure where I sit. I would not know who to immediately pick in this fight, and that's what I want. I want fights, top caliber, high level fights that I don't know who to pick, and I'm just intrigued thinking about the matchup of like, damn, I don't know what's going to happen here. But Leon versus Shavkat, these two, they're not going to talk. This is not a fight for the build-up. This is not a fight for who's going to trash talk or I want to see what these guys say to each other on Twitter. This is a fight just for pure stylistic, technical fighting. The striking here would be amazing. I do think Leon is the better technical striker. Shavkat definitely got the more power in his hands. He's also got probably the more diverse arsenal of strikes, I would say. He uses a clinch really well. Both of these guys are very good in the clinch. Shavkat mixes in takedowns. He's got submissions on the ground. This fight is just really interesting. And again, I wouldn't know who to pick. I might lean Leon Edwards. That's what I've been thinking. Just from seeing Shavkat, I don't think he is as technical as Leon. And Leon might just outpoint him on the feet. But again, it could go either way. And that's why I want to see the fight. So make it happen. Maybe as like an Abu Dhabi main event. Because for some reason, Leon Edwards wanted to fight Colby Covington in Abu Dhabi. So yeah, if he really wants to go over to Abu Dhabi, you can fight Shavkat there. This could be like the co-main of the MSG card, maybe the main event of the December card. Just make this fight happen. After Leon vs. Bilal, I want to see this fight later on in the year. But let's move on to another fight. Next up, we got Jose Aldo vs. Davison Figueiredo. Now, this is not the fight that I actually put in my next fights to make, because I put Jose Aldo vs. Henry Cejudo. But now I'm kind of thinking about it. And I think the bantamweight division, even though Corey vs. Umar makes no sense, and it should have been either Corey vs. Aldo or Umar vs. Cejudo or something like that, I do think it provides a pretty good opportunity or a pretty good outline of what we can see here, because Peter Yan is going to be out for ages. He's dinged up. He's hurt. He's going to need some time off. Cheeto Vera, even though he's Wolverine and just heals immediately, probably should be taking some time off. And I'm just not interested in seeing him fight, like, I don't know, like him versus Figgy. It's a cool fight, but I'm not all that interested. I think him and Jan should both come back around the similar time and fight later in the year. But that leaves Jose Aldo and Davison Figueiredo to fight. And I think two Brazilians, obviously, I don't want to put this fight in Brazil because Brazil just doesn't deserve it. So what I say you do is make this like the feature fight, not the co-main. Make it, because I want this card to be stacked, make it the feature fight of UFC 306 in the Sphere with my proposed main event of Sean O'Malley versus Merab Dvalishvili. And then you could do a co-main of Grasso versus Shevchenko, and then the feature fight of Jose Aldo versus Davison Figueiredo. Neither of them are Mexican or Spanish speaking for that matter. But again, neither is O'Malley or Merab. You don't need to, I get it, it's Mexican Independence Day, but you can do, Jack Della versus Kevin Holland was the co-main of last year's card. You don't need to do all Mexicans, let's be honest. If you do all Mexicans, you're limiting the stacked potential of the card. No one wants to see Grasso Shevchenko headline just because Grasso's Mexican. We don't care. It's a pay-per-view. Don't headline it with women. But do this as the feature fight, it would be sick. And then you can get a number one contender arguable. Or Corey versus Umar, if Corey wins, he'd be a number one contender. But you can get a fight on this card where it's one of these guys could, if Jose Aldo goes out there and finishes Figgy or vice versa, or one of them puts on a dominant performance, you can get a number one contender, or you could get a number one contender, but they would just wait. So you would end up doing this allows almost two number one contenders. So you can run, if Corey beats Umar, you definitely put him in there against either one of the main event in terms of O'Malley Merab. If Umar wins, I think he still needs one more. You can't go from beating no ranked opponents to just, okay, I'm gonna fight the number two guy and then get a title shot. Doesn't work like that, in my opinion. Even though that's what they did with O'Malley, still doesn't make it the right thing to do. But that fight would arguably produce the number one contender, and then this fight with Aldo and Figgy, such an intriguing stylistic matchup. Figgy's been mixing in some grappling recently, obviously would be very unlikely he would be able to do that against Jose Aldo. I think we would just be stuck with a very fucking sick striking match. I would pick Jose Aldo. I think his boxing is just a bit better. I don't think Figgy looked that good against Cody Garbrandt, to be honest, in the striking. But this would be a sick fight, incredible stuff, and it's a great fight to put on the same card. When you do title fights, put a top 10 matchup in that division. Just that's what you should be doing. But yeah, this is the fight and make it happen. Let's move on though to another fight. Diego Lopez versus Josh Emmett. Now look, this is not some title fight. This is not a number one contender fight. But this is just a fight I've been calling for since UFC 300. I made this as the next fights to make video matchup for Diego Lopez, and it's just amazing stuff. Even when even when Giga Chikadze pulled out against Josh Emmett, and then Bryce Mitchell stepped in, before that happened, I was saying, put Lopez in there on short notice. He just KO'd Pat Sabatini. He's coming off no damage. Get him in there. So this is a fight I've been wanting to see for ages. Someone's fucking getting KO'd in this fight. It's just going to happen. I would probably predict Emmett gets knocked out, to be honest. I think he's a bit too slow. I know he's got a quick, big meaty, quick overhand. But Lopez, I think, is the way more dynamic striker. And Emmett just doesn't KO people unless they're standing there shitting themselves like Bryce Mitchell, who just bites on feints and stands there and doesn't shoot takedowns. So that's why I picked Josh Emmett as a plus 200 underdog, because I was like, he's not going to lose this fight. Bryce Mitchell's going to hand him a knockout. So I predicted that fight. Just wanted to chuck that in there. But yeah, this fight is incredible. Put it on UFC 303. That card is solid, but it needs work. You can't be going in there unless, I still think there's a certain matchup which I'm going to put later in the video, which should be the co-main of that card. I think you guys know where I'm going with this. But you can't, if that doesn't get made, you can't go in there with a co-main of Jamal Hill versus Khalil Roundtree and then not add something else. You can't be running in there feeding Peyton Talbot a can and putting that on the main card. No one wants to see that. So do Diego Lopez versus Josh Emmett. Do it as a feature fight. Open the card with Khalil Hill. Put Talbot as the fucking second fight on the main card if you want to feature him, or do one of those, or maybe Ricky Simone versus Vinicius Oliveira. That's a sick fight. But co-main of a certain fight, which I'm going to talk about in a sec, and then feature fight Emmett Lopez. Give some other guy a spotlight on the main card, and then open the card with Hill Roundtree. No one wants to see that shit as a co-main event, bro. So yeah, Lopez versus Emmett, someone's going to sleep. This fight is just edge of your seat stuff. Probably finishes the first round. Amazing matchup. Make it happen. Let's move on though to another fight. Cyril Gane versus Sergei Pavlovich. Oh no, this is not good matchup for me. I must fight fat heavyweight in Paris. I need to get 50 punch TKO against the cage and then call for title shot. No, Cyril Gane, you will not be doing that because I'm going to actually give you a difficult fight in Paris and not just a fucking fat man. It's a punch, back of the head, 50 punch combo, standing TKO. Not happening, little bro. And you ain't getting a title shot if you do that either. But if you beat Pavlovich, you get a title shot if you win. It's great. It's good for the whole family. If you beat Sergei Pavlovich and call for a title shot, no one is going to have an issue with you versus Cyril Gane. So you're Cyril Gane. No one's going to have an issue with you versus Tom Aspinall in England, in Paris, in Europe, wherever. No, knowing the UFC, they'll do that in fucking Singapore. But that's what they're working with. But if you beat Sergei Pavlovich, and you go on the MMA and say, no, I not fight this guy below me in the rankings. I need to go for a good title shot. I only fight above me in the rankings, despite the fact I am number one contender. That's the Cyril Gane special. He goes in the MMA hour and is like, Sergei Pavlovich, no, do difficult matchup. A very, very tough guy. No fight him. But that's what Cyril Gane does. But if you did this and actually made this fight instead of just giving him fucking March and Tabora, I saw someone do a post on Instagram the other day and they're saying like fight night main events I want to see later in the year. And they said UFC Paris, Gane versus Tabora. And I'm like, are you dumb? Like, what the fuck are you doing? Cyril Gane is not getting away with fucking 50 punch back at the head TKOing another obese European like Sergei Spivak, and then calling for a title shot in Paris. Like, fuck off. It's not happening, because if he beats Tabora with a fucking back of the head elbow TKO and Tabora's just wobbling around and Mike God's like, over. Like, and then he goes, I fight for title shot. Yes. I give me Jon Jones rematch. I think this is a good fight for me. It's good. Like, fuck off. But Pavlovich, okay, he's got a fight booked against Volkov. I think he's gonna win. I think he's gonna smoke Volkov because Volkov's been talking like he gets whooped by Pavlovich in the gym. Like, he's been literally saying, I don't win the striking in the gym with Pavlovich. I have to grapple. Like, sorry, bro. I just ain't picking you. I think he's gonna get run over by Sergei. And that fight's in June 22nd, and the Paris card's slated for September 26th, I'm pretty sure. So, if my mathematical calculations are correct, July 22nd, August 22nd, September 22nd. That's about just a little bit over 3 months. You got about a 12-week turnaround. Give Pavlovich a week break. He can go visit the Kremlin. He can go talk to Putin. He can go, kill some orphans in Ukraine. His weekly hobbies. And then you can book him versus Pavlovich as a sick European on European matchup. France versus Russia, once allies, now enemies. I don't know where I'm going with this, but that's what we're talking about here. Make this fight happen, and it would be sick, and there would actually be buzz around the UFC Paris card, and you would get more people coming in from like Russia and shit. I know they probably don't want that, but it would be sick instead of just Sergei Spivak or some shit. You got the wrong Sergei last time. When Dana White jumped on Insta and said, UFC Paris, Cyril Gane versus Sergei, I was like, no way. And then Spivak, it's like, fuck off, dead. No one cares. So make this fight happen. It's sick. It would be awesome. And yeah, do it. Let's move on. Steve Erceg versus Kai Kara France. Put this on the Australia card as a feature fight. Or if you're struggling for depth on that card and you do Izzy versus Dricus, which you can probably get away with and you don't need a massive co-main, this will be a good co-main, like 5-round co-main event. Kai wouldn't get a title shot with this, but because he's a bum. But if Erceg won, he would get a title shot, especially given how many people think he beat Pantoja. So yeah, do this fight either 3 or 5 rounds in Australia versus New Zealand. It would be sick. This would just be probably a pure striking match, and it would be awesome. I would probably pick Steve Erceg to win, given that he is just, I think, the second best flyweight in the world. Just said that to piss people off, and he's going to go in the comments and be like, he beat Pantoja, he's the best flyweight in the world. Obviously, in the fan rankings, he is the number 3 ranked flyweight, so obviously Pantoja is the champ, and you guys in the fan rankings voted him behind Royval and Moreno, but you have him at number 3, so you have him above Kai. So if this happened, it wouldn't be technical. Obviously, it would be in terms of the UFC rankings, but he wouldn't be fighting down. He wouldn't be fighting up the rankings. For our rankings, he would actually be fighting down. But yeah, Kai Kara France actually called him out after Manel Kape versus Mohamed Makayev got booked. Kai jumped on Twitter and said that magically his concussions disappeared and now he can fight. So yeah, he wants to fight Steve Erceg, make this happen. Erceg's from Perth. They're going to Perth in August. It's a relatively quick turnaround from his title fight with Pantoja, but I think he's fine. Pantoja didn't do heaps of damage. That's why he won the fight, of course. But make it happen. Great fight. Do it. Let's move on, though. Benoit Saint-Denis versus Dan Hooker. This is an incredible fight, and they should make it for the 5-round, or make it a 5-round co-main event for UFC Paris. This is just a banger. This shit's gonna be a fucking war. Apparently, they're looking to put it on the Paris card. If they're doing 3 rounds, I don't hate it, but I think 5 rounds just makes it kind of cooler. And also, BSD was booked for 5 against Poirier. Obviously, he lost, but I do think the staff was an issue there. Let's book him for 5 rounds again. Dan Hooker's a guy that's gone 5. Dan Hooker's a guy that fought Poirier. And this is just a sick fight. Dan's a fucking gangster. He would take it. Look, I wouldn't mind if they put this on like the Perth card, but they're gonna put BSD in Paris. Let's be honest. The last time he fought there against Moises, the place was fucking nuts. So yeah, make this fight happen. 5-round co-main event. I would pick BSD. I think his grappling's good enough to beat Hooker. And even on the feet, Hooker doesn't have the stopping power that Dustin has. He's just not going to flatline KO you, I don't think. That's my opinion. Maybe he gets like a knee. He might KO him with like a knee if BSD's open. But if he doesn't gas like he did against Dustin, I do think BSD would ragdoll him in the grappling, to be honest. And yeah, but this is just a sick fight. Tell me you don't want to fucking see this fight. There's so many fights you can do with BSD because when you're just that fun, and lightweight is 95% fun fighters, there's just every matchup sick. Like him versus Fizie's awesome. Him versus Jalen Turner's cool. Him versus like Dariush is kind of mean to Benny, but whatever. Like there's just so many good fights you could do. So make this fight happen. Let's move on though to the final matchup. Ian Cucciardo Gary versus Colby. Fucking get Trump's cock out of your mouth, Covington. I don't know, it's not the best nickname, but that's all I've could come up with for Colby at this point. He's being a fucking cringe loser weirdo. Accept the fight, little bro. We all know the UFC wants to make the fight. We all know everyone wants to make the fight. Don't be acting like the UFC hasn't fucking offered you that fight. It's so clear that he has. And it really fucking is irritating because I'm supporting Ian Gary in this scenario because he actually is chasing a matchup. And you're like, nah, man, this guy is behind me in the rankings. It doesn't do anything for me. Like, I could fight anyone that's going to draw interest. Like, no one cares about you that much, bro. Like, we really don't care. I'm sorry, if Colby retired from the sport today, I don't give a singular fuck, and I'm pretty sure most of you wouldn't either. Unless you're just fellow, like, Trump chode suckers like Colby is, respectfully. Don't get mad at me in the comments, it's a joke. But, like, I don't think Colby just doesn't carry that much interest anymore. He embarrassed himself in his last fight. He talked a bunch of shit, didn't back it up, and then made excuses post-fight. And now he's just refusing to fight Ian Gary, putting a bunch of stipulations on it. And everyone's like, oh, haha, it's funny. Like, it's funny until you realize that this is just code for him saying, I don't want to fight you because I know you're not going to do all this shit that I'm telling you that you supposedly need to do to accept the fight. These guys are not independent contractors. This is not Jake Paul doing some bet with Tyron Woodley that he has to get a tattoo. Like, this is the UFC. You don't decide the fucking fight. Like, you're not the A side. You're both fighters. Neither one of you is the A side. It's just the UFC is going to make the fight. Yes, you're the more well-known fighter, but you arguably shouldn't be above him in the rankings. You haven't won against a single ranked welterweight. So as far as my books, you lost. You have to fight down. It's the reason why you don't. It's the reason why we all getting pissed at Garn for just calling for infinite title shots. When you lose a fight, you have to fight down a couple times. And we're not even saying you have to do it a couple. All we're saying is just fight a guy below you in the rankings. Because guess what? The only people above him in the rankings is Usman. We're not doing that again. You already got your jaw broken, and then you lost the second one. Bilal's gonna fight Leon for the belt. And then there's Shavkat, and we all know you ain't fucking fighting Shavkat because the only thing you have to say about Shavkat is just calling him shitty, childish nicknames. You don't want to fight that guy, even though he's above you in the rankings. But I wonder why you don't want to take that fight. So you're probably looking to fight. You were calling out Wonderboy. Wonderboy's below you in the rankings. What does that do for you, Colby? So yeah, stop being a bitch. Get off your fucking yacht with your paid women that you pay to stand next to you that don't even want to be there and fight Ian Gary. I can't believe that I'm saying Ian Gary is being more of a man than you right now. That's the sad reality of it. So fight the man. or fight the boy, fight the cuck. Do what you want to do, or just dip. Like, it's him and Jones are being all too similar right now, to be honest. They're just making a whole lot of excuses for not taking a fight that everyone else wants to see. So make this fight happen as the 5 rounds co-main, or not 5 round, as the co-main event. Then they don't do 5 rounders on Conor cards if it's not Conor. So do this as the co-main event of Conor Chandler, Ireland versus USA, just like the main event, and the press conference would be tremendous. And if Colby loses, he can just shut the fuck up and piss off. And then I wonder if Trump's gonna fucking invite him out to Mar-a-Lago or whatever the fuck that place is. I wonder if he'll invite him out there after that. So yeah, Colby, stop being a pussy. Accept the fight. But this almost turned into more of a rant video. I started it off with the Jon Jones rant, and I'm ending it with the Colby rant. Both of you accept the fight. But that's the video done, guys. I know I said it was going to be a short one, but there's nothing... we always go longer than expected. That's the moral of my life. That's the moral of my story. But yeah, that'll be it. See you guys in the next one. I might make this a weekly series because there's so many fights I want to see. Drop yours in the comments, and yeah, peace out.